Okay.
It's 11 a.m., so I'm going to start our technology committee for Tuesday, March 5, 2024. Can I please get a roll call?
Berlin.
Here.
Cahill.
Here.
Carrier. Here. Eckhoff.
Here.
Galassi.
Here.
Dustin.
Here.
Henry.
Here.
Kazmarek.
Here.
Mendrick. Rutledge.
Here.
White.
Here.
You.
Here. Thank you. Do we have any public comment?
No.
All right. So with regard to my remarks, number one, I want to say hello, welcome to technology. Thanks for coming. And I want to thank Joe Hamlin in particular and his team for the new boardroom redesign because they rewired everything, including those monitors, and redid the sound so that we can better hear public comment. So that is a really great thing too. So thank you to Joe Hamlin. Then number two, I wanted to update you guys that there was an exciting project that the IT department was doing for the state's attorney's office and the Secret Service. It was a sting to capture 3 individuals that were in a pig butchering scam, which was against our own DuPage residents.
Wow.
And so Anthony, our CIO, is going to be presenting on that very much later, a short presentation, but it is really exciting because it's been pending for several months. And lastly, we will be having a short presentation also in new business from Tom Ricker on our new GIS applications. So I'm looking forward to that as well. Okay, so that completes my remarks. I just want to move to approval of the minutes. So can I get a motion to approve the minutes for Technology Committee from our regular meeting of February 6, 2024? I received a motion in a second. Any discussion or changes to the minutes? Okay, seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that passes. Thank you. So procurement requisitions, can I get a motion for TEP 6-24, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Toshiba Business Solutions for
Second.
multifunctional device equipment, supply, software, and service solutions for all county departments, the period of April 1, 2024 through March 31, 2029, for a contract total amount not to exceed $1.5 million. And I did hear a motion and a second. Any discussion? Yes.
Sure.
According to the proposal, which I just skimmed, I didn't really read it. Implementation begins next month, April of 2024.
It actually begins after the contract signed this month.
Okay.
So we have to have the new contract in place by April 1st because the existing contract ends March 31st.
Okay, so when will we actually see the physical product installed in our departments?
Okay, so our plan is to implement over the next 2 weeks after we get board approval. So you'll see it within that period. We'll also provide training of those new devices so that each department knows how to use the new technology. So.
And when I looked at the picture in the proposal, they look really big. So the physical size is it bigger than the cannons that we have right now?
I'm going to defer to, Shanita's right there. Shanita Thompson is in charge of our operations department. She was the lead for the Canon RFP. And Valerie, of course, our chief procurement officer, was also part of the process. But Shanita, can you give idea of how those devices are?
So the proposal that was presented, that was our most common copier. It is about approximately the same size. It's not bigger. They do have smaller models. They just presented that one because that was the one that was the most that we had.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And let me add that one of the things that we're trying to do with this new contract is that we are assessing, working with the agencies and departments, elected official officers and departments, to make sure that we identify their existing need. In some cases, the devices that were there were some that were hardly ever used, some that were never used, believe it or not. So the goal is to replace them with devices that they actually need and to right size them. So in some cases, they don't need those large, heavy duty ones. They need smaller ones. We're going to do that as part of this process. So we'll identify what type of device is needed. And Shanice is actually working with the departments now to get that information. So then when we do the rollout, we can transition. So.
And
Right.
do you have a schedule for the rollout? We
Not
can't do
yet.
all the, okay.
No, we're working on it now.
She wants to be first. We'll be the guinea pigs.
Right, and there's gonna be training involved, obviously,
Yeah.
right, in dealing with the MFD.
Technically, because we don't have a contract in place, we don't have any of those things, but we are working on
Yeah.
those things in the background. So once we get the contract signed, we have a lot more information to share with you and the schedule is one of those things.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that passes. I'd like a motion on TEP 7-24, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Inside Public Sector for the replacement of backup appliances and annual maintenance in support of Veritas and backup software for IT for the period of April 1, 2024 through March 31, 2026 for a contract total amount of $374,718.84 pursuant to Governmental Joint Purchasing Act. And I did hear a motion and a second from Member Rutledge, motion from Member Guston. Any discussion?
Madam Chair, may I share
Yes,
some
of course.
background information with the committee? So the Veritas system backs up all of our data throughout the entire county. So it's a critical system for us to have and our applications. The great thing about this new two things about this new contract. Number one, the existing software will no longer be supported by the end of this year. So we have to upgrade. So we'll get a newer solution with more functionality. But I think number two, the biggest or the best thing for us is that this solution also provides a disaster recovery option, which saves some of our data to the cloud. So if this entire campus, God forbid it happens, gets wiped out, we're still able to restore basically our applications and data at a different site. So that's a huge thing for us.
Thanks, Anthony. Does that include a cyber attack?
It does.
Okay.
Yeah, it absolutely does.
All right. Any other discussion or questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that passes. Thank you. Can I get a motion for 24-0834, recommendation for the approval of contract purchase order to Sargent Laboratories for annual Aristotle Insight Network licensing for IT for the period of March 15, 2024 through March 14, 2025 for a contract total of $25,746.69. And I did hear a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye. Any opposed? That passes. Thank you. And then finally, can I get a motion for 24-0835, recommendation for the approval of contract purchase order to Site Improve Inc. for the annual license fee for web governance services for IT for the period of May 1, 2024 through April 30, 2025 for a contract total amount of $18,444.96. I did hear a motion from Member Guston and a second from Member Galassi. Any discussion?
And if I can add to this one as well.
Yes,
So
thank
this one, just so that everyone knows what it is, it basically allows for us to keep track of statistics. When people go web traffic, when people come and go to our website, it allows for us to manage different links and things of that nature. So
Enhances our county website, right?
yeah,
That's right.
enhances our county website for sure.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. All right, that passes. So with regard to these informational items, I would like to, can I get a motion to combine and place on file 7A, 7B,
So moved.
7C, and 7D?
Second.
Specifically, the purchase order for a contract issued to Benovate for the purchase of grant management software, for a purchase order to Clairvoyant for CV hosting for large database and additional licenses, a purchase order for Red Cell Technologies for software and software maintenance, and a purchase order to Harris Govern for annual software maintenance and support services. And I did hear a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. So that's combined, placed on file. Do I need to do another motion with regard to that? No. Okay, great. So we are now moving on to old business. Is there any old business? Okay, hearing none, we can move on to new business. All right, Anthony, you want to start?
Okay. All right, so what Chair, you explained earlier about the new and exciting project that we did last year. So in July, we were, the State's Attorney's Office was contacted by the Secret Service to help identify 3 fraudulent actors, malicious actors out there who had basically set up these fraudulent websites that basically citizens of DuPage County went to for information and investment advice. And they asked us to create a website or splash page to direct people to. There are 352 of these fraudulent sites that were created by these three bad actors. So a couple highlights I want you all to be aware. We're excited about it. We were asked not to share this information for almost a year now, since July of 2023. But basically, the project is really owned by the state's attorney's office and the United States Secret Service. We were just brought in to play a very minor part, but we were glad to help and support them. So basically, they asked us to create this splash page, which would send anyone who clicked on one of the fraudulent links, 352 links, it would send them to a splash page, which I'll show you at the very end, that says this site has been seized. Please contact the Secret Service for support.
Wow.
This scam is called pig butchering. So basically, why is it called pig butchering? For a couple of reasons. The Chinese coined the term. In Chinese culture, they take a pig, they fatten it up before they slaughter it. So essentially, the way the scam works, it's very similar to that. Basically, they befriend individuals, they sell them investments, they allow them to take money out of the investments. They show that they're actually making gains in the investments. They build their trust, and then they fatten the pot. They put more money in, then they leave, and then they shut down the site, or they stop responding to them. So it's a huge scam. Unfortunately, a lot of them prey on our senior citizens for these things. There was one individual, an example that I identified, where one individual within a 7-day period gave up $180,000.
Oh, no.
So it's a huge thing.
DuPage County residents?
No, this person was in California. But it was just one of the worst examples that they showed of it happening in a very quick period of time. The person thought that they were making a ton of money, right? And they were not making a ton of money. And unfortunately, these bad actors use cryptocurrency, so it's very difficult, almost impossible, to ever retrieve that money back. So anyway, so that was essentially it. And our team created this site for 90 days that tracked the activities of both the bad actors and the people who were impacted by it. So a few project highlights, like I mentioned earlier, there were only 3 offenders, but 352 unique fraudulent domains were created. And there were 18,000 visitors to our site. So that was just the site that we created, right? So it could be some repeat people, but a lot of them are unique people who are going to the site. And that's just the ones we caught. So prior to that, there were probably tons of people who were going to these sites and clicking on them. The actual number is 17,800 total visits to the page. As I mentioned before, it involved the state's attorney's office, Secret Service, their fraudulent fraud task force, and then as remember you mentioned earlier that Debbie DC and the web services team and Joe Hamlin and the network support group were heavily involved in this project. It's a one-of-a-kind operation for at least the Chicago division of the Secret Service office. They've never done it before. It was successful. We'll probably do it in the future. Well, unfortunately, they weren't able to prosecute these individuals because they're outside of the country. But we were at least able to seize those 352 domains. The Secret Service was able to seize the 352 domains, and now a lot of our citizens are safe from that. So I wanted to show you what it looks like when.
Yes, Member Rutledge, I think you had a question.
Yeah, I'm curious, what's to stop these entities from setting up 352 more sites?
There's absolutely nothing, right? Because you really don't know if it's legit or not. They seem to be legit until they start pulling people in. And what they do, which is also terrible. They really take photos of attractive people who are real people and use their profiles and their information. So they don't even use their own information. And that's part of the scheme, is to attract people, make them feel comfortable, and then pull them in. But there's really nothing that you can do.
So we'll see this more often going forward?
Yeah, unfortunately, you
Love
will.
it.
Yeah.
But it's amazing that in 90 days that we redirected 18,000.
Yeah, that.
I mean, those are people who could have fallen prey, so.
If it seems too good to be
I know.
true.
Yeah,
it
usually
probably
is.
is.
Spot
Member
on.
Desart also had a question, Anthony.
Anthony, how do they find their victims? And
Um,
they know where to contact them?
Usually through social media. So they befriend them via Facebook. If you see somebody reach out to your Facebook with a friend request and doesn't look like someone you know, but the information, it seems funny, those type of people. So it's usually through social media, Facebook, Instagram specifically.
And what's a splash page?
It's basically a webpage that we put up just with, it doesn't have a lot of information in the back, just information in front. This is splash page right here. This is the actual splash page. So it's just it's just a page that has information on it, and it's not a true web page. But this is the actual page. So, show you the bottom information. So domain has been seized. If they click on it, then takes them directly to the Secret Service. So they can contact.
If you
them.
Member Rutledge.
Thank you, Chair. Can we do a public service announcement somehow to draw attention to this sort of a
We absolutely
scam?
can now. So the operation is over with. They did not want us sharing this information as they were going through it. But now that it's over, we can start sharing information.
Would it be
Yeah, early and
useful
often.
Would it
We
be
did
useful
do
to
a
do a press
scam.
release?
Seminar just recently and
Yeah.
included them, for, and bringing primarily at seniors, because seniors are scammed, but they're often not scammed this way. They're scammed with a telephone call. And I used the example of my sister who got called and she ended up losing $500,000. She gave away all of her IRA and 401k money. And, we tried to stop her and tried to explain that because they used weird stuff. I mean, the ghost phones. She was calling the Secretary of State of Texas supposedly to have it verified that they were legitimate. I called the Secretary of State. I found out better, but she called the number and, so we do have to keep these things in mind
Yeah.
to look after our folks. Because it's just terrible what they do.
Yeah, in some cases, they pretend to be your family too. I forgot to mention that. So family or friends, right? They
They-
steal their photos on social media and they'll post them up. And some people just don't know.
And they try to be your friends
Yeah.
that are taking your money.
Yes, Member Guston.
Thank you. And it's so funny. I just watched a movie about three girls who their identity had been taken, their photos had been taken, and an individual actually was stalking them and did a lot of damage to their reputations. And it's on, it's on Netflix. You can watch it. My question is, on a legislative end, is there something or some conversation that's being had to be able to protect people on social media platforms? And if we're not having that conversation with our legislators, we probably should. So
Yeah.
something for the future.
Yeah, I'm not aware of it. I'm sure that there has to.
That's something
This
that
is
has
a
to be
big
done.
problem
with the federal
throughout.
legislative.
Yeah, this is a big problem throughout globally. So
Right.
this isn't just here.
Yes.
But we can always look into it. And you're right, if it's not, someone should
Yeah.
Yeah.
present
Senator
legislation.
White
to
also
protect
has a
it.
comment.
Two quick comments. Just sitting here right now, I put that term into Google and it looks like Stephen Colbert did a whole episode on this within the last week.
Oh, wow.
So he's
And
gonna,
what kind of-
and the second,
Stephen Colbert.
Stephen
On,
Colbert.
so, and I just typed Pig butchering into Google and it popped up as the first hit. So, and on March 3rd, actually just last Sunday, he did a whole episode about how this works. I think the problem with legislation is gonna be the First Amendment. That you can make it illegal to defraud people, but you don't know they're defrauded until after they've been defrauded. The prevention's gonna run it, because then legitimate business will say, I wish we could. I'm just saying, I would like to see that, but I think that's where the problem's gonna come, is that the social media companies will fight against it. I'm not saying don't try, but I'm saying that's.
Yeah, I think a conversation should be had
Yeah.
now without, yeah.
Are there any other questions for Anthony with regard to the presentation? Okay,
Thank you.
and
Yeah.
Anthony, we may want to consider doing a press release actually with regard to
Yeah,
this.
I would definitely-
We'll have more information. to
I'll
out.
reach out to Joan and.
Yeah.
talk about it.
That'd be
That
great.
makes sense. And again, I want to underscore, I'm just presenting, Joe and Debbie did all the work
Right.
on this.
Congratulations to them. Yeah. All right, thank you, Anthony. I think we're gonna move now to Tom's presentation.
As you know, the GIS department is always working on new applications to help out our citizens and to help out staff. So Tom and team created two new apps with a lot of great GIS data that I think you guys would love to hear. So we wanted to present it to you. Tom.
Okay, well, thank you for giving me the opportunity to present these two applications for you. They're both demographic apps. One of them is just general census demographics, okay? And the other one is for the WorkNet staff, which is all employment demographic data. And there's just gonna a lot of different great data here, morsels that you'll see as we go in to the application. So when you open up the first one, this is the census app. And it kind of gives you a brief demonstration of how to use the app on the splash page here. I'm gonna close that down. We've got various categories. Then for each category, we have subcategories. So if you hit population here, you've got population density, population change. And as you'll see in each of these areas, we have it broken down by board district. And then as you zoom in, you'll see it by census tract. And then down here, if you switch to the map, you'll get it down by the census block group. So it'll look even more detailed for each of these maps. And even if you switch map back and forth, the little icon here, it stays within the same geographic area. Okay, so if you look at here, we have population. Here's 18 and over, population of 16 over. We have race, and as you switch race, we have white, black, African-American, in all these categories, we modeled this after the US Census. They have the same kind of application. We kind of modeled it after that with the categories that they have, but just concentrated in with DuPage County. Here's Hispanic. Here's housing. So with housing, you've got housing, occupied housing unit, and then owner occupied housing unit, families and households. So family households, family, non-family households, one person household, and married couple households. So again, as you zoom in here, you'll see the census tracts. But now when you click on the census tracts for here, it'll give you a pop-up, okay, with basic information for that census tract. So in here, we have the family number of family households, total family households, and total households. But then you can go in here, and these are what we call infographics pages. It opens up even more data.
And that was hard to see. So what he clicked was a
Yeah.
link that said more information.
Right. So in this, you've got basically, population. Here's the breakdown by age. Here's at-risk population, so households with disabilities, population over 65. Here's poverty index. Here's the breakdown of languages.
Is that by precinct that you clicked
Yes,
on?
that's
precinct?
that's the
Okay.
census tract. So if you see here, see the census tract up above,
Yeah.
it lists that census tract number, and here's a little submap of that area.
But that's not the same as precinct though, is it?
No,
Is it?
no, this is the census tract, because the data that we're pulling is from the ACS and from the census. So to link that data, it has to link to that census tract number.
Where do we find it on the
geographic area.
website, on the DuPage County
This
website?
website, this one here is open to the public. If you go to the map portal,
Okay,
and if you go down here, this page right here,
Okay.
that'll open that up.
okay, county districts
And
demographics.
that's a big help for planning.
Yeah, to do so.
Yeah, and this is also good for, community services, if they're looking at that, high-risk population, where they can find and concentrate those efforts. Again, this is my geospatial, that I like to talk about, is it's data that you're looking at, but now you're breaking it down to where those areas need to be addressed. You're seeing specific areas where population is, where age group is, where incomes are. Okay, and you can start concentrating those efforts into those geographic areas in the county that need that assistance.
Yeah, and it's the same data that you already have access to, but now you can visualize exactly where it is and where you can help.
Let me go to the next one here.
So where do we have access to it on the website?
On the website.
Not
On the
on
website, you go to
Where-
the portal, that's,
whereabout?
I'm sorry.
But he's saying the map is over here, but you said not the map one. Is there a different one that has no maps that you
Oh,
have
no,
information?
this is just data that
Okay.
we have available, that's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can read it. There are reports that you can get, you can read it, but
Okay,
what he does is take the data to help you visualize it on the
Right.
maps.
right, and each of those infographics page, you can print those off, you can export
It's like
those
census
out,
data.
and print those off
Okay.
further. So if you're
Okay.
looking for a specific area, and you want to take that with you, you know, that infographics page that I showed you with all the little graph, you can print those out. Now here is the,
Tom, let me give a question for you.
Yep.
Tom, quick question. The census data, what you have up here is from age 18 to 65. Is that how the census
yeah,
was?
that's how they break it out.
That's how they broke it out?
They,
Okay,
I
'cause it
believe
didn't
you can
seem-
get it down to even in the Esri stuff, you can get it down even more detail, where you can get it, you know, 0 to 5, 5 to 10, but there's
Right.
so much data there.
Right,
Those are the basic, like I said, we modeled it off of what the kind of census, the national one was, but we just concentrated into DuPage County. So we took those categories and kind of mirrored them, so to what the federal.
yeah, I
site
just
had.
thought it was kind of a big gap,
Yeah.
but that's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, if you need those though, we have that information.
Okay,
So it's
great.
just how much you want to show on one page.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
okay, next one is the WorkNet. This is for the WorkNet DuPage staff. This allows them to see basic, again, income. So you got medium household income, per capita income, medium net worth businesses, total employees of the businesses, commuters. So household spending 7+ hours commuting from back and forth from work, drive alone to work.
For what?
Pardon me?
7.5 hours per week, per day, per?
Let me look and
Month?
see it. Yeah. That's-
Long commute.
That's a lot. Sometimes I was stuck in Chicago
But
traffic.
here's education, non-high school, high school diploma. So again, county board districts, as you zoom in, it goes to those census tracts.
It's already separated by our district. isn't it?
Now with this page, it's the same thing. You can go and flip back to the census block group. And if you click on the census tract, let's get the pop up here, again, more info. Now this infographics page is, since it's an internal one, we can get more information out from our Esri. So if you go to this information page, we've got these different areas. And even in this area, if I want to go and see, it breaks it out to in more in-depth graph. So here you can see employee summary. So here's wireless trade, manufacturing for that census tract, educational services. So it breaks down all the different percentages. So you can say for this area and then how much of that is for the county itself. I can go over here to key factors. Here's the age pyramid.
Is this available to the public, Tom?
It can be, this one now is just for, because this one here, this data is what we call enrichment data. So as with our SRI subscription, this data is updated on a regular basis. So because it goes out and it pulls that information. So since we're limiting it to staff, it goes by certain credits, okay, to pull that information, very minimal credits. So it's one of those that we don't want to have it out to the public because the public's gonna consume our credits up for our account. It's just for staff. But what we can do is similar to what we did for the census one, that we kind of made a screenshot of that information. So, but this allows the staff to even drill down even more, granular to those different categories for employment. So you can start looking at age, you can start looking at, here's employment or unemployment for this area. So you can see the employment and then the unemployment.
So Tom, WorkNet DuPage currently has access to this and they're.
Yeah, we just
already been
finished, we
using
just
this?
finished it up. We've been working with them, getting this data, so we're gonna be presenting to them shortly. So,
Okay.
but I just wanted to see, we just got done with this creating this page. So like I said, here's a high school diploma. So you can see who has a GED, high school diploma, all this information. There's just tons and tons of morsels of information that you can pull up for all these different categories. Any questions?
Yes.
You just said on, I think this last, section that, like, there was some issue with like cost credits, so, you know, some things are internal and some things to the public. What is the scale of cost for, you know, credits for things to like, what the decision of which things are the public can access?
We have certain credits with our ArcGIS Online account. And, so when you're pulling that information in, I don't know exactly what, you know, what the credits are, how many hits they are that come through. But it's one of those, it's out there. We utilize those credits for even different things outside of this for all the maps that we share internally and externally in our ArcGIS Online account. It's one of those, we don't want to throw it out there and all of a sudden we were getting these hits over and over and over, and then our credits go down.
That's what I was like, just for like a frame of reference, how expensive would it be to, you know, make some of this stuff accessible to the public in terms of like the credits and the cost? Just for, you know,
We'd have
reference.
probably if we do, we'd have to maybe open it up.
Yeah.
And then see how many hits we're getting, you know, per month and then see how many credits that are, this one site is utilizing. So that's something.
Then
that we can do in
calculate
our
the cost
analysis.
of each credit based on that
Yeah.
information.
Yeah.
So it is trackable.
Yeah, it's a good question. I think it's something we should probably look into.
Okay. Right. Any other questions for Tom? Yes.
Oh, not a question, sorry.
All right. All right. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Any other new business? Yes.
Thank you, Chair. So I just, not quite as exciting as the presentation you gave, but I did want to give Anthony kudos for his training program for the new onboarded staff, because I was served from our cybersecurity, a fake email trying to get me to click on something, and I was wise enough to not click on it. So I just wanted to say thanks for the training and
She did
Yeah.
the right thing. She sent a message inquiring, and that's what we encourage everyone to do. Or to use that fish alert button in Outlook. Just click that, it goes to our team and they research it for you. And they'll even let you know if it's legit or not. They'll say it's legit.
I used to send it to Wendy.
Okay, I mean, that works too.
Yeah.
No,
We don't have Wendy anymore.
Oh, right, when is it?
I sent it right to Anthony.
Yeah, you send it to me, but actually, I prefer for people to.
Was it
click
what?
the Fish alert button.
No,
in
oh, I got a bunch of those too.
I thought
Yeah,
you
click
would
on that.
Okay, no.
Yeah, I prefer for people to click on the fish alert button because it's in Outlook, you'll see a button, it'll say fish alert. PHISH, alert. And if you click on that, we can keep up with statistics, right? If you just send it to me via email, you call somebody like Wendy, we can't track it. So she'll knock it out and make sure that it gets blocked. But it's better for us to keep track of our statistics, how many exactly people clicked on that button, how many different phishing attempts will help us understand how much security we need to apply. Do we need to do more training if there are too many of those things out there? So yeah, the fish alert is the best, but if you're not sure, send it to me and I will let you know whether it's legit or not.
It's good to know, because I got the same one and I didn't know about the fish alert. I just sent it to you.
Recorder Carrie also has a question.
What is the ratio of legitimate scam versus legitimate email?
That's a good question. Joe, are you aware? of that?
No, we'd have to look back.
We have
I
to
mean,
look
we
back.
get like millions and millions and millions email a day, and like 99% of them are
Scam.
scam.
Yeah. So a lot more unsolicited, I would say, versus scam. Unsolicited is a combination of legitimate messages, but people trying to get you to call them or buy something, and then scams. 90% of our email is that. So probably a lot of it is scam.
So we
We'll
always
find out.
say-
And that being said, most of it don't hit your inbox.
Right.
You
Yeah.
screen it for us.
We screen it. You get a lot more if you didn't screen it. Yeah.
So when in doubt, just send to IT.
Oh, I do. I think I over-report.
Yeah.
That's fine.
I've not gotten a response from, like, no, this was good.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
No, yeah.
I'll make sure that they follow up, but yeah, usually if they don't respond, it probably is a.
Auditor White.
Yeah,
last question.
one comment about the fish alert. I believe that's something you have to enable. So everybody should check on their laptops to see if they've enabled the fish alert. I know At one point, they just, the IT took it off of mine, just slowing things down, then they put it back on.
I think we enable an all, right, Joe?
But it is, sometimes if it's not used for a certain period of time, Outlook will automatically disable the add-on, and then you just have to say.
So if you don't see it,
That's a good point, because I
Okay,
don't remember.
yeah,
seeing
that
it.
is a good
Okay. Yeah, if it's not, so that's a great question. So let us know, call the help desk and we'll make sure we re-enable it.
I accuse Anthony of sending to me all the time. I get several a day. And I said, Anthony, you're just testing.
All right, folks, any other new business? All right, if there's nothing, then without objection, we're adjourned.